Hey guys, welcome back to another video. If you're new here, you can call me Serene. I am the owner of Serene Aromas, where I sell handmade candles and natural skincare for dry and sensitive skin. And today I'm going to be touching on a topic that is very important for you as a small business owner when you're first starting, and it is pricing your products. I will specifically be focusing on pricing candles, but know that this is very applicable to other products that you may be selling for your business. So whether you're selling at markets, online, this is going to be your guide to help you break even, but also make a bunch of profit on top of the products that you're selling. So let's get right to it. The first thing that we're going to need to do is break down the prices and know exactly how much it costs for you to make one candle. You're going to need to know all the materials that you're using specifically to make your candles, from your wax, your wicks, your containers, your fragrance oils, the labels, the wick stickers, the warning labels. All of those things are going to be included in your price so that you know exactly how much it costs for you to make that one candle. One thing that I recommend you do when you're buying your products is buying them in bulk so that you can reduce how much it costs for you to make those candles. To make this video a little bit easier for you to understand, we're gonna break these down in even numbers. So to begin, you're gonna need to figure out the price for each and every single item in bulk that you're buying that's gonna go in your candle. And then you're gonna break that down to figure out how much it costs for one of those things that's gonna go into your candle. We're gonna start with the wax, which is gonna be the main ingredient in all of your candles. So you're most likely gonna be spending a little bit more money on this one item. Let's say that you buy 50 pounds of wax for $100. We're gonna convert the 50 pounds to ounces so that we can make everything even throughout this whole process to make it easier. The 50 pounds converts to 800 ounces. If you don't know how I got the ounces from that, it is 16 ounces per pound. You calculate that by multiplying 50 pounds and 16 ounces to get 800. With that said, you're gonna be using $100 for your candle wax. To calculate how much wax we're gonna be using and how much wax costs per candle, that is going to be $100 divided by 800 ounces, which gives us roughly around $0.125 per ounce. And since we're using a 10-ounce candle for this example, we're gonna multiply that number by 10. That's gonna give you $1.25 per candle that you're making. That is the cost of the wax for the one candle that you're making. And to move along, we're gonna be doing the same exact thing for each and every single item that comes with your candle making. So the wax, the wicks, the fragrance, the wick tabs, the labels, whatever you spend money on, you buy it in bulk, you figure out the price per one item, and you use that one item for your candle. Add all of those things together and figure out how much it costs for your candle, plus the labor based on how much you decide to pay yourself as a business owner. And before you think that I'm coming up with all these numbers in my head, I am not. I just want to make it clear because I'm using my phone right here as a reference for everything that I have written down for this video. So the next thing is the fragrance. I am going to say that each bottle of fragrance that you buy is going to be 16 ounces and it's going to cost $30. Once again, we're going to break that cost down by dividing $30 by 16 to give us $1.875 per ounce of fragrance that you're using. The next thing that you would need to do with this number is figure out how much fragrance oil you're using per candle that you're making. This is gonna vary based on the wax that you're using because the fragrance ratio and the wax matters. Some waxes hold higher percentage of fragrances, so depending on how much you're using for your specific fragrance based on the recommendation that the company has given you, you're gonna use that reference number. But for the purpose of this video, I'm gonna say that I'm using 1 ounce of fragrance for each 10-ounce candle. So that's automatically gonna be $1.875 per candle. Then we have the wicks. Say you buy 100 wicks for $10. We're gonna break down the $10 and divide it by 100, and that's gonna give you 10 cents per wick. If you're using one wick for your candle, then the 10 cents is gonna be how much it costs for your wick for your candle. If you're using two, then it's gonna be 20 cents. If you're using 3, it's gonna be 30 cents, and so on and so on. We're gonna say that we're using 1 wick for a 10-ounce candle, so the cost is gonna be 10 cents. Moving on to the wick tabs, which is basically the wick stickers that you use to attach your wicks onto for your candle. We're gonna say that it costs $5 for 100 wick tabs, and so we're gonna break down the $5 divided by 100 to give us 5 cents. And if you're using 1 wick for your 1 candle, that means you're also using 1 wick tab for your 1 candle. So your cost for your wick tabs will be 5 cents. And moving on to our labels, I personally print out my labels at home because I have a printer and all the stuff that I need for that. But if you're ordering your candle labels, you're gonna be calculating that cost into that as well. So let's say that it costs you $20 for you to get 50 labels. Again, we're breaking that down per label. We're gonna figure out that 20 divided by 50 gives us 0.40, which is 40 cents. And if you're using 1 label per candle, that's gonna be your cost for your label. Then we have the warning labels that go at the bottom of the candle jars. These are usually very cheap, so we're gonna say that it costs $10 for 1,000 warning labels. And 10 divided by 1,000 gives us 0.01, which is 1 cent per warning label. The last thing that's gonna be on the list of items that is used for your candle is gonna be the container. We're gonna say that maybe it costs you $1 for each container. So to recap, so far we've calculated the wax, which was $1.25 per candle. Then the fragrance oil was $1.875 per candle. The wicks were 10 cents each. The wick tabs were 5 cents each. Labels were 40 cents. The warning stickers were 1 cent, and the container was $1. Adding all of those numbers together gives us 4.685. This may seem like a small number, it's just under $5, but it adds up a lot because you're buying your items in bulk. You may have to add other things into the cost, like maybe if you're making a colored candle, you're gonna have to add the price for the candle dye. If your candle jars do not come with lids, you're gonna have to add the cost of the lids onto that as well. And anything else that you use to make 1 candle, you're going to have to add the cost onto everything together to make sure that you account for everything that you're using for your candle. And now we're gonna move on to adding the cost of your labor. You can decide which way you wanna calculate this by deciding if you wanna pay yourself per candle, per hour, per batches. I'm gonna be using a pay per batches of candles that I make for a certain amount of time. So we're gonna say that we're paying ourselves $10 per hour that we're working on the candle making process. You can decide whether you wanna pay yourself more or less. That is all up to you. Like I said, for the purpose of this video, we're gonna use even numbers so that it could be way easier to calculate these numbers for you to understand everything. So $10 per hour, and it takes us about 5 hours to make a 20 batch of candles. So 5 hours times 10 gives us $50. We got to break down the $50 to figure out how much it costs us for each candle that we're making. That's going to be 50 divided by the 20 candles that we made in that 1 batch, which is going to give us 2.5 for your labor per candle. Now that we have the $2.50 that it cost us per candle, we're gonna add that onto everything that we had before with the wax, the wicks, the candle container, the fragrance. All of that together gave us $4. Add on the $2.50 onto that, which is gonna give us 7.185. That is gonna be the total cost for each 10-ounce candle that you're making. Having the total cost per candle, which is around $7.20, you can decide how much you want to profit off of that. I would say at least 50% so that you can see some results and see some money building up and possibly make more candles or invest in making something else for your business. If you want to use that profit margin of 50%, then that means you're gonna at least have to sell your candles at double the price, which is roughly $15. What I personally would recommend is for you to price your candles a little bit higher just so that you can cover other costs, like maybe going to sell at a market, having a website up, having to do marketing, maybe on social media, having other things printed out for you like a business card or anything else that you may have to do for your business that you don't want to reach into your pocket for the business. So with all of that said, let's recap real quick. For you to figure out the cost of any item that you're making for your business, you have to start with finding out how much it costs for all the materials that you use. If you're buying your items in bulk, it'll save you so much money in the long run, but I understand that that may not be feasible for a lot of business owners that are just starting off. Once you calculate the cost of all of these materials that you use, you're gonna have to break down the cost for all of these materials to figure out how much you're using for each item that you're making. Then you'll be adding the cost of your own labor based on how much you want to pay yourself for the items that you're making, and then you'll come up with how much profit you want to make for each item that you're making. I recommend that you add a little bit extra onto the profit margin that you're trying to reach so that you can account for other things that you're using. This is going to be applicable for any item that you're making for your business. All you have to do is add on any extra materials that you're using for the specific product. I hope this helps you price your candles or any products for your business with confidence so that you can make some money and help your business grow. Comment below if you have any questions regarding your business. If you found this video helpful, make sure to like and subscribe, and stay tuned for more small business and candle making content. Until next time, bye.